Nobody told you this. Your school didn't teach it. Your parents probably didn't know it either. And the people who do know it, they're not posting about it online. In 2014, a 92-year-old man died in a small town. Nobody noticed at first. Why would they? He drove an old broken-down car. His coat was held together with safety pins. He ate the cheapest breakfast he could find at the local hospital every single morning. People walked past him every day. They felt sorry for him. Then his will was opened. This man, this janitor, had secretly built a fortune of over $8 million. He left it all to his town, the library, the hospital, places he believed in. His own family had no idea. Here's what I want you to understand. That man wasn't lucky. He wasn't gifted. He didn't have a secret formula or a rich uncle. He had something most people will never develop because nobody ever shows them how. He understood the relationship between money, the mind, and time. And once you see it, really see it, you cannot unsee it. This video is not about budgeting. It's not about 10 tips to save money. You've seen those videos. They didn't change anything. This is about what's actually happening inside your brain every time you make a decision about money, and why most people are fighting a battle they don't even know they're losing. Stay with me. His name was Ronald Read, born in 1921 in a tiny town in Vermont, USA. His family had nothing. This was the Great Depression, one of the hardest economic periods in American history. He was so poor growing up that he walked and hitchhiked miles every day just to go to school. When he finished school, he served in the military. Then he came back home and got a job. Then he did pumping gas at a service station. That was his career, gas station worker. Then later janitor at a department store. No college degree, no rich family, no big salary. No mentor pulling him up. Just Ronald and his habits. During his lunch breaks, he would go to the local library. Not to rest, to read. The Wall Street Journal, business pages, company reports. He taught himself how the stock market worked. And then he started buying small shares in big, reliable companies. Companies like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, JP Morgan. Companies that make things people always need. Soap, medicine, banking. He bought, and then he waited. Not for a week, not for a year, for decades. He left $1.2 million to his local library, $4.8 million to the hospital in his town. The same hospital where he used to eat cheap breakfast every morning. People were shocked. Even his own family didn't know. So what was his secret? That's the real question. And the answer has less to do with money than you might think. And here's what I promise you by the end of this video. I'm not going to leave you with just a story. I'm going to show you something practical, simple, no complicated steps. A way to look at your own thoughts about money, the ones running in the background right now, the ones you don't even notice, and actually start to change them. Not tomorrow, not after some course, just from understanding what you're about to hear. So don't skip ahead, because the method only makes sense after you understand what your mind works the way it does. And that's exactly where we're going next. Here's something most people get wrong about wealth. They think it's a math problem. Earn more, spend less, done. But if that were true, doctors and lawyers and engineers, people making 10 times what Ronald made, wouldn't end up broke in their 50s, and yet they do, all the time. There's a real example that makes this painfully clear. A man named Richard Fuscone graduated from Harvard Business School. He worked on Wall Street. He made millions. He had multiple homes, an 18,500 square foot mansion. By every measure, he was successful. And then in 2008, he declared bankruptcy. He couldn't keep up with his own lifestyle. The man who went to Harvard for finance ran out of money. Ronald, the janitor, died with $8 million. Richard, the Harvard MBA, went bankrupt. Same era, same country, same economy. So what was the difference? Behavior, not knowledge. Behavior. Wealth is not about how smart you are. It's about how you behave. And behavior that comes from your mind, your habits, your fears, your beliefs about yourself. And this is the part most people never reach, because changing behavior sounds hard. It sounds like discipline. It sounds like willpower. But what if I told you it's not about any of that? What if the real work happens in a place most people never look? In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what science found about how your inner thoughts shape every financial decision you make. And then I'm going to give you a simple, clear way to start working with your own mind. Not against it. This is the part nobody talks about. Stay with me. In the 1960s, a researcher at Stanford University named Walter Mischel ran a very simple experiment with kids. He sat a child, 4 or 5 years old, alone in a room. On the table in front of them, one marshmallow. He told him, I'm going to leave for a few minutes. If you don't eat this marshmallow before I come back, I'll give you 2 when I return. Then he left. Some kids ate it immediately. Some covered their eyes, talked to themselves, sang songs, anything to distract themselves. And they waited. The researchers followed these children for years, decades even. The ones who had waited, they tended to do better in school, better in their careers. They handled stress better. Brain scans done on these same people as adults showed real visible differences in the part of the brain that handles long-term thinking. That part is called the prefrontal cortex. In people who had learned to wait, it was more active. Okay, you might say, so some people are just born patient, but wait, because the story gets more complicated. I'm more honest. A different group of researchers tested this again. Much bigger group, much more diverse. And they found something important. When a child grows up in a home where there's not enough food, where adults break promises, where nothing feels stable, that child learns something. They learn that later doesn't always come. So when they see that marshmallow, eating it right now is actually the smart choice. Because in their world, waiting means losing. The ability to think long-term, to be patient, isn't something you're either born with or you're not. It's something that builds over time based on your experiences, your environment, your habits. Ronald Read built it. Every lunch break in the library, every small stock purchase, every year he chose not to sell, he trained his brain to wait. Now let me tell you something that honestly upset me when I first learned it. 2 researchers, one from Princeton, one from Harvard, studied what financial stress actually does to the brain. They went to India and tested farmers, real people, real lives. They tested them twice. Once right before harvest season when money was tight, when they were stressed, worried, stretched, and once right after harvest when they had money in hand. The same farmers performed significantly better on thinking and problem-solving tests after harvest than before. Not because they got smarter, because financial stress was consuming their mental energy. Think about that. When you're stressed about money, your brain is using up processing power just to manage that stress. Worrying about rent, calculating if you can eat this week, figuring out which bill to pay first. That's mental energy that could be used to think ahead, to plan, to make better decisions. This is not saying poor people are bad with money. This is science saying that financial stress itself makes everyone worse at handling money. Which means the first step to getting better with money isn't always learning more about investing. Sometimes it's reducing the anxiety first. Even a small emergency savings, just 1 month of expenses, doesn't only protect you financially. It protects your thinking. Okay, now I need to tell you something that might be a little hard to hear because we've been talking about how to build wealth. But what happens after you build it? A professor at UC Berkeley named Paul Piff spent years studying this. He observed intersections and watched who followed traffic rules and who didn't. Drivers of expensive cars were significantly more likely to cut people off, skip their turn, and failed to stop for pedestrians crossing the street. He then ran lab experiments. In one, he put people in a rigged game of Monopoly. One player got twice the money and better odds from the start. Both players knew the game was rigged. But something strange happened. As the wealthy player accumulated more money, they started acting more dominant, more entitled, and when the game ended, they actually talked about their own smart moves as if they had earned it fairly, even though they knew it was rigged from the start. Sound familiar? Now, Piff himself says this is not inevitable. Wealth doesn't have to corrupt you. His research also showed that just reminding wealthy individuals of others, of community, of people who needed help, was enough to bring empathy back immediately. The lesson isn't money is bad, the lesson is stay aware, stay connected to people. Don't let success make you forget where you came from. Ronald Read gave away nearly all his money. Maybe that's not a coincidence. Alright, let's bring this all together. Because I'm not here to just tell you interesting things. I want this to actually mean something for your life. Here's what the real science, not motivational quotes, not gurus, actually points to. How you see yourself matters more than you think. Research shows that people who identify early on as I am someone who saves, or I am an investor even before they have much money, make consistently different choices than people who say I'm just bad with money. Your identity shapes your behavior, and you get to choose your identity. Start small. Open a savings account. Call yourself an investor, because you are. Remove the need for willpower. The marshmallow research tells us willpower isn't enough. Environment is what really drives behavior. Set up systems that work without you. Automatic transfers to savings on payday, direct deposits split between accounts. When the money moves before you see it, you don't need to be disciplined. The system is disciplined for you. That's what Ronald Read did. Reduce financial anxiety first. Before you optimize investments, before you stress about returns, build a small cushion. Even 1 month of expenses just sitting there. That cushion doesn't just protect your bank account, it protects your thinking. It gives your brain room to make better decisions. Be patient with time. Compound interest is boring. That's why most people don't use it. Ronald Read bought his first stock and waited 69 years. Nobody wants to wait 69 years, but the point is the direction. Are you moving forward? Even slowly? Slow and consistent beats, fast and chaotic every single time. Science backs that up. History backs that up. Stay human. Don't let money become the whole story. The research is clear. When people become too focused on wealth, they lose something: empathy, humility, connection. And ironically, those are the very things that often create long-term success. Relationships, reputation, trust, stay connected to people. That's not just moral advice. It's strategic. Back to where we started. A gas station worker, a janitor, a man who wore the same worn-out coat for 30 years. He didn't beat the system. He didn't find a shortcut. He didn't go viral. He just understood quietly, without needing anyone to tell him, that money is not the point. Time is the point. Habits are the point. How you think is the point. And those things, no matter where you're starting from, are yours to work on. The janitor figured that. If this hit different, drop a comment. Tell me what surprised you most. And if you want more videos like this, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.